Let's be real, buying a home is one of the biggest, most intense financial decisions you'll ever make. It's super exciting, for sure, but it can also be incredibly complicated. So today, we're going to break down a really crucial and honestly often overlooked piece of that puzzle. When you're buying a home, who is actually on your side?
So picture this. You walk into an open house and bam, you fall in love with the place. The agent there is super friendly, really helpful. It seems totally natural to just ask them, hey, can you help us write up an offer? Right? I mean, it feels convenient, simple. But this exact scenario, this is where things can get very, very tricky for you as the buyer.
And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is this actually a good idea? On the surface, it might seem like the path of least resistance, but we really need to peel back the layers on this one. This whole situation leads us to the fundamental issue here, what we'll call the representation question. It all boils down to one simple but powerful thing: understanding whose interests an agent is legally and ethically bound to protect. And here is where that conflict becomes crystal clear. Look at this. The listing agent's primary loyalty? It's to the seller. Their entire job is to get the highest possible price and the best terms for the seller. A buyer's agent, on the other hand, their loyalty is to you, the buyer. Their goal is the complete opposite, to get you the best price and the best terms. You just can't have one person effectively fighting for both sides of the negotiating table.
So, what's the answer? This is where your advocate comes into the picture, a dedicated buyer's agent. You've got to think of them as your personal guide through what can feel like a real estate maze. A great buyer's agent is just so much more than someone who shows you houses. They are your guide for the entire journey, they're your advocate when it's time to negotiate, and they are your problem solver when things get bumpy, and trust me, things can get bumpy. Their one and only focus is protecting your interests from the very beginning all the way to closing day.
You know, a lot of people think an agent's main job is just opening doors to properties, but the real work, the stuff that actually saves you money and stress, that happens long after you've found the house you love. Let me be really clear about this. Unlocking the front door is the easy part. That is not where the value is. The real value is in the navigating, the negotiating, and the problem solving that happens completely behind the scenes. That is what you're really getting when you hire your own agent. So what does all that behind the scenes work actually look like? Well, first, there's the mountain of paperwork. Your agent guides you through every confusing clause in the offer and the final purchase agreement. Then comes the inspection. If the inspector finds a problem, say a leaky roof, your agent is the one who steps in to negotiate repairs or credits on your behalf. Then there are appraisal challenges. What if the bank says the house isn't worth what you offered? Your agent manages that whole headache to keep your loan on track. They're also dealing with all the lender's requirements, and crucially, they're the project manager for all the deadlines. Missing one can literally kill the deal. Each one of these steps is like a potential landmine without an expert on your side. Ultimately, this all comes down to one core principle, right? It's about why fair representation isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute must-have when you're buying a home. Here is the bottom line. When you have your own buyer's agent, you have a professional who is exclusively 100% in your corner. Their loyalty is not divided, it's totally dedicated to you, with zero obligation to the seller. And the result of that undivided loyalty? Well, it means you're empowered to make truly smart decisions for yourself. You've got an expert helping you spot and avoid those hidden pitfalls. The end game here is that you get to move toward closing not with a knot in your stomach, but with genuine confidence. So when you're making what is likely the biggest, most important purchase of your life, the question you really have to ask yourself is this: who really is in my corner?